What's up, everybody? Should be live, and we are back with One Piece 1188. Which I've been told is something special. I had enough people hype it up, so I did pretty much stay off the internet, so I don't know what happens. Last chapter was pretty good, left us on a good cliffhanger. Hope it continues from there, but we'll see. Shout out to Crush, member for 20 months. Big news, Savage. Bunch of X's in the air.
What's up, y'all? You know what time it is. It's about to be that time.
It is about to be that time. Let's see. Just reading the chat there. Any predictions? I mean, if people are specifically reaching out to me about it, like, I don't know. Does Sanji do a Conqueror's feat? Like, I mean, that's the only thing that when people were like, you know, like, stay off socials, stay, like, all that kind of stuff, and then I take into consideration what happened last week. I'm like, okay, well, we were setting up Sanji getting Conqueror's Haki. Does he? I don't know. But, like, even the Discord went into lockdown, so I'm like, all right. Either way, I stayed off Twitter, so I don't know anything that's going on. Shout out to Barry, member for 62 months, like D-Stream. Okay. I'm going to pull this up now. The only thing I will say that I have seen is I have seen that there's a color spread, and, like, I passed by that, so I think it's like an underwater one or something. That's fine. Because I was on Instagram and the thing where, like, they do like a video where it shows like Oda's process to draw the stuff, like that came up on my feed. That's it. Okay. Over at Viz today. For some reason it didn't open the chapter, just an ad for the chapter. Try again. Oh, there's a jump cover? That I didn't see. Barry said it's still off from how long we've been doing this. So happy 5+ years, my friend. Yeah. Crazy. 62 months is wild. Yeah, I know. That's what I was thinking when I read that. All right, so I'm looking at the color spread here. Nami hugging a king turtle. Sanji's upset that the turtle is getting more affection than he is. I like this apparatus that Sanji has that might be like giving him air. Like, it's a very interesting technology. Took me a minute to find Zoro. I was like, is Zoro not in this color spread? Alright. Cool. Moving on. Okay. We're on page 3. Hello, hello, come in. Shh. Hello. What? Who are you? Moo. I am Emu. Who are you? Oh, me? I'm Joy. Okay. Indeed, Joy Boy is long dead. Okay, well, I mean, is this where we're going with the chapter? Because if this is the case, then like, yeah, I didn't hear anything about this. Well, I didn't hear anything anyway, but I mean, like, this is not what I was expecting. Just for context, like, I know that Emu mentioned something about Joy Boy in the previous chapter, so I'm just going back to 1187 real quick to see that panel at the end of them squaring off, and Joy Boy was mentioned. All right. There you are, Joy Boy. They're calling me all these different names. I'm Luffy, the man who will be the king of the pirates. So that's how we ended last week. And then now someone is trying to talk to Emu and saying that they're Joy Boy. I guess I should just go to the next page and see what this is instead of trying to wrap my head around it. But the chapter is called Vohu. I don't know what that means. Voice of blank blank. Or is that a name? Okay. Page 4. So why do you remind me of that time? How should I know? Emu's charging up some sort of black flame attack. Luffy dodges it. It's a homing attack. It's following his neck as he's shooting it down. Nothing is continuing from that. Okay. All right. So I was misinterpreting. I think I was misinterpreting this first page as like Joy Boy was like contacting from the dead or something, or like using voice of all things, or speaking through Luffy. But I think that we're just getting a fully blacked out flashback of like Joy Boy and Emu's first meeting and interaction. And one day when we actually get the flashback, we'll see this panel again, and it won't look like this. It'll actually have drawings on it. I thought things were getting like way crazier. It's just a little bit of a flashback. Emu was able to stretch on this next page. So we got ourselves a little bit of a mirror match sort of thing again. Katakuri vibes. His Luffy squaring the outstretched head down to the ground. It's a good attack. Alright. Luffy's upset. Popping back up. Goes for a swing. Emu dodges. Ends up behind him. Instant transmission. Feel like I'm looking at a Dragon Ball Z fight. Next page. Goes to attack Luffy. He instant transmissions out of there. Luffy starts doing either a Gatling stamp or a Gatling punch, and Emu is spinning his glaive, or whatever you would actually call this weapon, around to block the attacks, which is interesting. I don't know if we've seen precisely this before. Maybe with Hannibal, because he had a staff. I think that he spun it around. kind of like this. Luffy's getting upset. He was able to hit him before. Now, for some reason, he can't hit him. I feel like if I turn the next page, we could cut away or keep going with this, but let's see. All right, we're still here. Imu's doing his signature fire shot. So I feel like that's like now his position for attacks, which is unique. You know, I've never seen that before in One Piece or in other media, so it's cool that Imu's got like his own unique way of attacking. So he's peppering down on Luffy, who is Roadrunner running around. Says close one. They're still flying at him. They're still homing at him. Luffy's realizing that they are homing on him. Whoa, they're chasing me. Are these supposed to be bombs? Alright, here we go. Gum Gum. Jet Gatling. Punching all of these, you know, emu homies in the face here. And it worked. Okay. Emu's concerned. Gum Gum. Next page. Genie? Well, if you think it, you can do it. This is very Willie Gallen quote right here. Luffy changed his entire appearance. He looks like a fusion between Daifuku, Buggy, Jesus Burgess, Frankie. Like, it's Gum Gum Majin in Japanese. Okay. Ooh, well, I just like saw the full spread, and like it is literally a genie. Why would Luffy think of this? Oh yeah, I saw your fight with Loki, and I won't let his death be in vain. His death? The hell is Luffy talking about? He thinks Loki's dead? There's no way Luffy thinks Loki's dead. There's like a thing of meat holding the the turban in place. That's crazy. All right. Okay, I'm glad this was answered immediately on the next page. Loki yelling, "I'm still alive, you moron." Oh, hey, Loki, you're alive. All right, Emu does his Emu stance. Oh, crap, damn it. Good EDD. Move, Ragnar. What is Jinbei doing? Arabesque brick fist, but on what? The ice cube? Can't really tell what's... Can't tell what he's punching at. A tree? Guess I should just turn the page. Okay, so we're moving away from the genie fight a little bit, I think. Wait, was there an attack that was going for Loki and Jinbei blocked it? Is that what it was? Oh, okay, that's what it was. Yeah. Okay, so Emu was when he went into his stance, he was sending something at Loki. Now I've got the picture. I'm just so distracted by this genie thing. So Ragnar goes in and tries to like take the attack, protecting Loki. Now I get what's going on. Jinbei jumps in, does something. We've remembered that he's a character. Love it. Genie Luffy gives Jinbei some props. Asks if he wants to, if Luffy wants him to make sure that Loki's protected. Luffy says, yeah. Thanks, Jinbei, he's my pal. Loki says, I ain't nobody's pal. Okay, it's all very Luffy and Law coded right now. Alright, I can do that. You focus on the fight. Alright, so now we got bodyguard Jinbei. Wait, that's Luffy? He's fighting that guy from before. Is he going to be alright? Who is that guy anyway? And then Brooke says, the only people higher than the Knights of God are supposed to be the 5 elders, as far as I know. So maybe he's the Knights Commander? I bet that's it. There's no group more shrouded in mystery than the world government. Next page. Hey, Brooke, she's almost out. Ah, Princess Shuri. What's our next step? What does one do with a frozen person? Well, let's see, when Robin and Luffy got frozen, I'm glad this was getting, this is being talked about, because I was immediately going to say, well, some people there have experience with this, so, they've been frozen before? Gunko, could you not break that ice? Gum Gum? A man with an afro calling Gunko Princess Shuri. Could it be? Emu remembers Brooke from that day? Oh, this could get spicy. Please follow through on this. Please stay on this path. I don't want a throwaway line. Let's make this a thing. Come on. Luffy comes in. Caught you slipping, Bullet. It's a crazy attack name. Emu blocks it. Were you not watching earlier? Shing. Watching what happened to Loki despite his size. Okay, Emu's doing something. Stigma. Pop. Okay, Luffy falls out of genie mode. Well, that was a fun couple of pages. More homing homies. Flying around. Roadrunner. Emu's walking. Please be going over to Brook or something. This is cool. So, spinning his weapon. The eyes produce a sword. Oh, it's a real sword. Oh, okay. Blade of Nothingness Vohu. A tree nearby immediately loses all of its leaves. This whole page is just... That's just... aura. Wow. Okay, I like that. Next one. Oh, wow. Opens a path of literal nothingness. Like, everything is dying in its wake. It's interesting. Forest dried out. View is clearer now. Same from up here. Alright, Luffy, what are you about to do? We're getting close to the end. I hope the next page is the last one. Let's go, come on. Of course I know that you're not Joy Boy. Huh? Joy Boy was not this week. Oh, man. Whew. We finally got the post time skip crocodile action. Oh. I love this if it sticks. Like, Luffy, like, legitimately has to, like, not get up from this. I need the next chapter for Emu to just start monologuing like Crocodile did. Just hit him with the... Talking about rookies in the new world. Thinking they could stand up to him. This is like... This is almost beat for beat, bar for bar, like the Luffy and Croc chapter. He even dried stuff out. But it's like doing that whole genie thing reminds me of Luffy doing like Goma Goma no Baku Baku and, you know, like joking around in a really serious fight. But that's, I mean, that's Luffy in general. The only difference here is that there was, you know, there's legitimately other people nearby watching as this is happening. But I'm thankful and grateful that after this beautiful panel of Emu aura farming, that there's this massive payoff. And legitimately, Luffy should have a new scar from this. Like, this should be a thing. This should last. Luffy's got to be like completely done now. Next chapter, he reverts. He goes back to, you know, his base form. Emu's got to like try and finish him off. Somebody else is going to have to like... It'd be crazy if like Brook runs over there and like... Or Usopp. Trying to protect Luffy. Like, that would be something. Gunko getting out of the ice feels like that's the thing that's going to that feels like that's the Deus Ex Machina here. She's going to get out of the ice. She's going to do something that's going to like pull Emu back to the Holy Land or something, so that they have a little bit of time to regroup here. That's probably what's going to happen, just based on the things that are going here. But given the, like, there's so much immediate, like, just, like, this really needs to get handled immediately, in the immediate moment in the next chapter. But with what's going on with Zoro and Sanji now, I'm a little confused, because I feel like this moment in this chapter is great, but I feel like we would have normally gotten this after we got a little bit more of those fights, which is also helpful for the tension of the manga. I don't know if Zoro and Sanji are going to win now. I also don't know if they should. It'd be nice if they could sort of balance things out a little bit. But this is exactly what I wanted out of this altercation in the first place. If Luffy beat Emu here, we literally have nothing to talk about. Like, we have nowhere to go. We're up. We're at the pinnacle. We're at the top of this. Sail the Laugh Tale right now. Right now. Go get the One Piece. You're the king. Because you just beat the king of the world. So this is the only way that this could have ever ended. Which I've been saying for however many weeks or months we've been, dealing with Emu actually being here in person now. This is phenomenal for the story. This is legitimately, this is everything I wanted. I hate seeing my boy like that, but it's going to be so much sweeter when he gets back up, figures out what he needs to do next. Yeah. It's excellent. Barry said, love having some more serious stakes again. Yeah. That's all I've been wanting. The New World has been a cakewalk. K-Pro said he moves on a timer. He's going to time out. Yeah, that's been set up. Shout out to Time Lord 22. Member for 35 months. What if Emu throws Luffy up? He lands in H realm. He just like launches Luffy into the air, landing somewhere else. I just don't feel like there's been enough setup for the Heaven Realm for that to happen. I feel like it would kind of come out of nowhere. I think he's gonna launch Luffy down on the ground, and then the best case scenario is that some members of the crew, not Hyruden or any of these other, like, I need like Brook, Usopp, Nami, Chopper comes out of nowhere. Like, I need them to like stand in front of Emu, professing to Emu's face that he is nothing, that Luffy is that guy, and that they won't let him do anything to him. And something like that will mean the world, because none of those people are going to stand up to like are going to be last more than 5 seconds with Emu in the first place. Granted, Brook did kind of hold his own a little bit when Emu was taking over Gunko, which was wild, but I would love for it to be Usopp, because that would be the Elbaf moment that we've been waiting for, right? I feel like it's going to be Brook based on the dialogue that just happened. Like, if someone is going to rush over there, Brook is the fastest. He does have a sword, so he could literally block the sword. I fear for Brook's safety in that particular moment. But because the other thing too is, like, if Brook starts scrapping with Emu, it justifies the flashback. And as Shuri is like coming to, she would realize what's going on and then activate the timer. Like that all of that logic makes sense. If Usopp gets over there, he's not doing all that. But I wouldn't mind another, like, Miss Merry Christmas, Mr. Four sort of, like, speech from Usopp. So, I don't know. There's some fun possibilities with all of this. I'm seeing all the croc emojis in the chat now. Kip Seaway, member for 55 months, put the croc emoji. This reminds me of Luffy's first defeat by Crocodile. Love this panel. Exactly. That was the first thing that popped into my mind, and I think that it's supposed to feel like that. Catching up a little bit on the chat here. Friends Like Me starts playing. Bowser Cop said in Roger Base's stream, someone said the genie reminded them of Old Man Hyo. Maybe if I saw some glasses on the genie, maybe that would make me think that, but I didn't necessarily see that. Polkazard said, time for double awakening. He died again. Is this your king? Shout out to for Just. Appreciate the super. Said, imagine seeing Loki free. Brook and Joy Boy all in the same place. Emu must be confused on some level. I wonder why Emu let Loki hit him. You think Emu let Loki hit him? When Loki hit Emu, that was just battle IQ. Loki saw the opening and took it. And it was maybe my favorite Loki moment, because you just see the IQ. And then not only that, like, oh, I haven't been able to hit this guy. I finally got him. Like, I'm going to double down and go for another hit immediately. Like, I'm not going to sit here and, like, go, ha ha, I got you. Like, no, I'm gonna keep going until I can't. And that was cool. Alex Mirren said, one arm Nami is back on the menu. Imu got that sword out. That would be crazy. Crush said, so 0 chance this is Luffy's future sight, and the next chapter starts with Luffy saying, wow, that was close. Like what happened with Mihawk and Marineford. I would be so mad. I think everybody would be mad. Don't even put that in the universe.
You loyal.
Shout out to Chin, member for 57 months. Said, Croc saving Luffy next chapter. Why are you stealing my role? Stole my whole flow. Bar for bar, word for word. Word for word, bar for bar, yeah. I'd love it. Let's bring Croc into it. Shout out to KPro88. Appreciate the hundo. Let's get into this one.
I'm about to make a name for myself here.
See, Luffy is still thinking his fruit is rubber. Is a soft limiter. And the only reason he's still alive is because his will to live is so great that the fruit just keeps him alive. Nami's blind faith that he can't die makes him the ultimate opponent for an immortal man. So, when Luffy went into the genie mode, like, I immediately went back to the Willie Gallen quote. Because that, I think, is like the entire thesis of One Piece in a nutshell. That little narration box as the ship is falling from Skypiea. Anything that man can imagine in this world can become reality. Paraphrasing. Paraphrasing even more, if you think it, you can do it. If you dream it, you can do it. And I think that that is just a hallmark of everything that's going on here and all of the unexplainable things. It's why Bonnie was able to go Gear 5th. It has nothing to... I don't think it has anything to do with her power and everything, that she just was young enough and unburdened by blocks in the mind, limiting beliefs, all of that. She was sheltered, so she didn't have enough people telling her that she couldn't do things. So when she just thought that she could do it, she did it. And I think that that's overall going to be like the big takeaway from a lot of this. And maybe I'm wrong, but I mean, that's just how I'm seeing things. It's how I'm visualizing all of this. So when K-Pro is saying, like, Luffy's still thinking his fruit is rubber is a soft limiter, there's a lot of limiters that I think need to get pulled away. Luffy still hasn't really been told directly that his fruit isn't the Goma Goma no Mi yet. Not to the point where, like, he's clocked or registered all of it. He knows that he's got Gear 5th. He knows he feels freer in it. But the trick to beating Imu will probably be learning and realizing what's going on and embracing everything about it. If there are souls in devil fruits, becoming one with Joy Boy. What are we seeing in these chapters? Imu keeps mentioning Joy Boy. And what is Luffy doing? He's saying, no, I'm Luffy. I'm the guy who's going to be the king of the pirates. Are we seeing a story where Luffy has to embrace that it's... I mean, I don't know if that's in keeping with everything that Oda's telling us about the character and the story, but I think there's something there, and something to constantly mentioning it and having Luffy denounce that he is not Joy Boy. But maybe with an understanding of what his fruit is, or someone can tell him what he's really capable of. Then maybe he can achieve greater heights. And maybe that person is Ragnar, because Ragnar was there. Ragnar saw the original Joy Boy, probably. And if Chopper can translate, and Oda remembers that Chopper can talk to animals, Chopper could be the key to Luffy awakening a latent understanding or ability of all things. And Chopper also needs to have an awakening and an understanding of all things, because he is countering some wild stuff in this arc and has no comprehension of how or why he's being able to do that. And that's why we need a whole thing. We need to take a step back and regroup, chat with Ragnar, chat with Scopper, chat with another character that appears at the end of all of this. Does Shanks come back? Does somebody else come back? Information needs to be exchanged. Because the only way that we're going to beat Emu in the first place is via information. And that's why, I'm not going to go into it too much, because I've beaten it to death. But it's like the same thing that K-Pro is talking about in the Super, about the limiters and everything, is why I think and hope, and some people disagree, that other members of the crew that don't even have devil fruits, through hockey, through wish fulfillment, through the Willie Gallen quote, will achieve some sort of transformative state that resembles Gear 5th. If Emu can Domi Reversi people and turn them into black pieces on this go board of war, of life, the counter is that Luffy, through his magnanimous presence, through his ability to draw others to him, if Luffy can free the limiters and blocks on his own mind through understanding a little bit more about his fruit, understanding this power that Mihawk talked about, can he Domi Reversi people into Gear 5th, freeing them from the burdens of life to where they can be their ultimate, purest, greatest self. Because Gear 5 Usopp would just go so hard, because his imagination is crazy. Whatever he could think about, if he was able to do it in the same way as Luffy, I feel like he would be unstoppable. But we'll see. So that's my answer to that, Super. Appreciate you, K-Pro. This is a good point from Alex. This might be the worst thing to happen to Luffy that a good chunk of the crew actually saw. No one saw him die to Kaido, and only Robin saw his loss to Croc. Yeah. It's a good point. And that's why I'm excited about the prospect of, like, some of those other characters getting involved in this. Blazerus said, I feel like it has to be Shanks. He would only listen to him when it comes to the Gum Gum fruit. Shanks is a good person to be an exposition tool in the first place, because he knows the importance of the fruit. He went after him. He knew that once he saw the Gear 5 poster that it was like go time. So it's all part of his plan. And I think it's high time we know what that plan is as we go into the true end of everything. Cyber Daria said, what if Luffy finds out the truth and rejects his fruit somehow? I don't know. I just feel like when Luffy finds out the truth, he's not going to accept it. He's his own man with his own dreams. That is very typical Luffy behavior. And that's the thing, too, where there's a way for him to find out, reject everything, being his own man, and then still awaken everything that everybody's telling him that he needs to do by just embracing his own freedom, which is the whole point of what everyone was trying to tell him in the first place anyway. So I think there's a way to like hit both. It's a fine line, but it's something that I think can be that they can tread. Shout out to K-Pro. Appreciate the continuation of the super here. K-Pro said, yeah, I don't mean become Joy Boy by any means, and neither do I. I just think there's a line between controlling the fruit and letting the fruit use you, which could explain why not all users would use the fruit the same way. And I think that goes to all devil fruits in the first place anyway. But even then, it's still the thing that I can't wrap my head around with a lot of these devil fruits in the first place, and the way that things have been described to us, you know, especially in Egghead and all of that. There seems to be this implication that devil fruits were just manifested from thoughts. Like there's dialogue in the story where making that rationale isn't irrational. There may not have been a devil fruit tree, or even if there was a tree, it was like each fruit came from a desire and a wish that someone had. And then the way that people use their fruits sometimes defies any sort of logic that one would have about a fruit. One of the weirdest things I think I ever saw was when Viola did that whale attack with her fruit. Like, what is being able to see great distances have to do with manifesting some sort of a whale thing and beating someone? And even if it's a pun in Japanese or anything like that, like, it's still a weird connection to make with a power. Bonnie going Gear 5. Like, even if it isn't if it is something tied to the fruit, then that is the line between controlling the fruit and letting the fruit use you. Viola has the base ability to see really far. But for some reason, she thought that she could create these whale tear things and hit somebody with them, and then she was able to do it. So when it comes to Luffy, like, he doesn't have to become Joy Boy. But there is an element of understanding the history so that you don't repeat it. And I think that the answer isn't, hey, your fruit can do this. I almost feel like the answer to all of this is now all fruits can do this. Because every fruit is the same thing. In a way. You know? There's a lot of things with all of this that, like, it makes me want to throw the rules out the window. Because it feels like the rules are being thrown out the window. We had all these hard and fast rules at the beginning. It's like, okay, Zoans turn into animals. Logi is turned into elements. Paramecia, it changes your body. But now it's like, Luffy had the rubber fruit, but now he actually has this mythical human fruit. And he can road runner run, he can grab lightning out of the air, he can manifest goggles, manifest a bat, paint. And if he wants to turn into a genie, or a giant genie, he just thinks it and he does it. Bonnie has the power to manipulate her own age and other people's ages, but then also can become a giant, but then also can become a Gear 5th version of herself, and also a giant Gear 5th version of herself. It's just like, where does that end? Where are the rules now? And that's why I can't shake this idea that, like, the baseline of all of the fruits is just whatever you believe you can do. If you think this fruit is going to let you swim through the floor, it's going to let you swim through the floor. But maybe if you also believe that that fruit will make wax, maybe it'll make wax too. Like, I we just need more clarification on these things, because it's like, how many people have been able to use and produce fire that don't have a fire fruit? They're able to do it. Kind of cheapens the, the flame fruit in a way. So, I don't know. K-Pro, member for 29 months. Member chatted. I mean, like, thinking of the fruit as symbiotic instead of a tool could explain Emu just calling them by the fruit's name. I mean, there is potentially something cool to a symbiotic relationship. Like, if the souls of all of the previous users are in every fruit, or something like that, you know, then, you know, do we get a father-son Kamehameha style thing where Luffy is punching, but Joy Boy is also punching, because Joy Boy's, like, soul and, you know, or Nika's soul or whatever is in the fruit somewhere. And it's this sort of understanding that, like, Luffy's like, well, I have autonomy and I'm super free, but I also understand that there is something inside me that I can use to my benefit to beat these guys up. Maybe. Time Lord said, to be fair, that's what the Zoans in any lobby in Onigashima did. Their Zoans were capable of what they were told the animals could do. When I did an initial video about this a long time ago, I specifically talked about exactly that. King's Missile, the helicopter Triceratops, the way Queen detached and then put themselves back together or whatever. Kaku turning into a cube, because giraffes do that, right? That's why the Willie Gallen quote is so important. If you think it, you can do it. And that's why I just... It's why I feel justified in the ridiculous things that I say about these fruits, that, like, at this point I feel like it's all meaningless. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean in a way like these rules and these laws and everything are just telling us that it's mental blocks. If I hand you a fruit, and it's like, I hand somebody the spring fruit, but I tell you that it's the candy fruit. Will you eat it and then spring away? Or because I told you that it was the candy fruit, will you manifest candy? Because at this point, in the way that everything has been explained about these fruits, like, I think that you would make candy. So, I don't know. Let me see a little bit more here. Mookie said, I'm sure Luffy's done, but Sanji and Zoro will most likely win. They need to get stronger. Imu won't go to where they are for some time. He mentioned Brook. Seems like he'll go to Gunko's place next. I would rather they go to where they are. You know, like, I would rather Brook just uses his super speed to protect Luffy from a secondary attack or something. Crush said, everyone says, Luffy be free. Luffy says, no, I will be free. I mean, basically. Eric said, loving the discussion and the chapter is solid. Yes, especially the end. Cyber Daria said, I know you're saying Shanks, but I always imagine Dragon to be the one to tell him the truth about his fruit, Nika. That would be interesting. Because there's a lot of implications about Dragon, you know, knowing that information in the first place. Chris said, speaking of Bonnie, seen a lot of people commenting that they want to see Bonnie put Ja Rule in his prime and go against Emu. Rather Yajirobe from a Yajirobe move from Usopp or something. If Bonnie can turn Ja Rule into his prime and then suddenly like he just like is in his prime, I think that would actually be broken. Because I feel like even if she ages him down, he should still be and move like a 400-year-old, even if he's like in a physically more prime body. I don't know. But since it's One Piece, it would probably be badass and great. But it's almost really sad because it would be like temporary. But it would just be so broken for Bonnie's fruit, and at that point it's like, okay, maybe this is the key to immortality. I think more questions would come from doing that. Questions that I don't know if the story can sustain. Moonky said, I believe the fish fruit will make me a dragon. Yeah. Chris said the dinosaur users really speak to whatever you want as reality, though. Yeah. Mizukami said, you were always right about devil fruits being hockey, maki, and training wheels. That's why Zoro always has his true hockey feats way before Luffy. Yeah. Because as far as I'm concerned, like, I always say that everything with the Mr. One fight just feels like hockey. And if that's the case, then yeah, technically Zoro was using hockey before Luffy. But I also think my headcanon is that Gum Gum Storm had to have had some hockey on it. On top of the blood. You know, like, there's got to have been moments before we knew exactly what hockey was, or before Oda had the concept where it's just like subconsciously, unconsciously, like these characters were just tapping into this latent power in them. They just didn't know what to do with it. And I think that, you know, there's a line of dialogue in Alabasta at the end that like really does a lot of work for that, where Zoro's training and he's just like, I've got to be able to call that power forth whenever I want. Shout out to Dak in the chat. So just got here. What's up, everyone? Hope you and the fam have been doing well, Randy. Yeah, we're good, man. Thanks for checking in. Hope you've been good. Dak said Prime Jaw Rule is definitely something I want to see. Yeah, we'll see, man. We'll see. I don't know. What I want to see is Emu going for the next attack, and then the other Straw Hats come in and like try to block it and defend Luffy before Gunko does whatever Deus Ex Machina is going to pull Emu away from this situation. But I want to see Brook block Emu's sword from dealing another blow against Luffy. A conversation between them about all of that. And maybe an Usopp speech thing, something that's just powerful and gets us somewhere. Dak wants Ja Rule and Kureha to meet, the oldest human and the oldest giant. Ja Rule said he likes younger women, so I hope he gets the hots for Kureha too. She's obviously old, but young for him. That's wild. I don't think Kureha is leaving Sakura Kingdom. Yeah, that's right. He said he likes older women, which is ridiculous. So he's on his own. Yeah, we've been spending a lot of time talking about how devil fruits can just do anything. But we needed that final panel. And it's really all I wanted from this fight. As long as it sticks and it stays that this is the end of the fight, and then we have to regroup, figure out what's next. Today's The Gamer said, do you believe Emu is leaving Elbaf in the 2 to 4 chapters, next 2 to 4 chapters for some reason or another? Yes. Yeah, I think after the end of this chapter, I think it's going to be on the lower end of that number. I don't think we have 4 chapters with Emu and Elbaf. I think we've got 1 or 2. And, because with Luffy down, it's just like the clock is even tighter. We need Deus Ex Machina immediately. And unfortunately, but it's all being set up with Gunko getting unfrozen very conveniently nearby. She'll be able to do something that sends him back. Or he'll time out. Whatever happens first. But I'd like to see some of the other crew members get washed a little bit before that happens. And say some things and do some things that solidify this arc as something truly iconic. We just have a lot of Straw Hats nearby, finally witnessing a defeat instead of being too far away or, just hearing about it later. They have to get involved. They have to save their captain. I need the Straw Hats to do things. Luffy will be fine because he's Luffy. He should have a new scar from this, though. And it should take him a long time to recover. But individuals getting out of this situation completely unscathed after this, that's a little rough for me to wrap my head around. If this was any other story, I would say after this, Emu would kill somebody, like a main character, and then solidify themselves as like the person that we need to go after and get revenge. But it's One Piece, so like I'm not gonna say that like, oh yeah, Brook's gonna defend and then Brook's gonna die, or Jinbei's gonna leave his stand and Jinbei's gonna die, or something like that. But you know, we've been talking about it a lot. You know, does Nami, you know, go to the prototype Nami and she gets her arm cut off and then gets a cyborg arm? Frankie did say, do I have to cyborgerize anybody? And you know, now would be the time to do something crazy like that just sticks for the rest of the series. Dax said, same. I need some Straw Hat moments ASAP. Yeah, I do not need to cut back to Hyrodin during all of this. Like, I've got Straw Hats there, and I need Straw Hats to do things. And Emu seems to, like, have an interest in Brook right now, so, you know, let's lean into that, even though Usopp really is in need of some stuff. I'll take some Nami, you know, action. I'll take some Jinbei. I'll take any of the you know, the four guys that are over there. If Chopper wants to pull up out of nowhere and, like, do something that, like, counters Emu weirdly, you know, like, I'm here for that too. I'm here for Chopper being the Deus Ex Machina. And then Emu telling us exactly what mythological fruit Chopper has. There's a lot of good that can come from, like, what just happened at the end of this chapter. Like, stuff that if it just hits the right notes, like, we could really be in for some peak. Dak said, I would love if Usopp started talking smack to Emu, paralleling him and Lucci. Yeah, I mean, you know, it's like we got a little bit of that when Emu was inside of Gunko, but it felt unmotivated and out of nowhere at that particular time. So this is where I need him to do it. And I don't necessarily want it to be like him yelling at Lucci. I want it to be more like the Mr. Four Miss Merry Christmas thing. Usopp standing up against all odds. That would be the best. Usopp getting beat to all hell, but still standing. Dax said, like, if Usopp said, I am Dozon back from the dead to stop you again, Emu, and I have my hammer Ragnir again, picks it up, that might actually give Emu some pause. Yeah. Hey, look, at the end of the day, you know, everybody knows I want Usopp to pick up Ragnir. I've been wanting Usopp to get his real life 5-ton hammer this entire arc since the beginning, and then finally we got introduced to a giant hammer that, you know, could transform and probably change size. So many directions Oda could go, but today's wants to know if I believe that Usopp has more to offer this arc. He should, but this arc has become more about Brook and Robin. So those are the two characters that I know for sure have more to do. Usopp's been promising, Oda's been promising Usopp action in Elbaf for 25 years. That has not happened yet. It still could. Or we could end up as disappointed as we were with Zoro and Wano. Jinbei stepping in to help Ragnar, and Loki might free Ragnar up to go with Usopp. Yeah. Huh. Alex Mirren said Brooke, Nami, and Frankie could all have great near deaths that lead to growth. Oh, that's right. Frankie is there too. Frankie would be my pick to... Like, I love Frankie. But if anybody was going to get, like, really demolished and really destroyed, Frankie's the pick. Because he can put himself back together. Dax said, thoughts on Dragon showing up to save Luffy parallel to Logue Town but replace Smoker with Emu would be a nice continuation of the parental themes of Elbaf. It would be a twist because Dragon hasn't really played that much of a role here outside of the God Valley flashback. I think he's too far away. But he did talk about the Holy Knights. It did seem like his, his grievance is with the world government and everything. So maybe. That's tough. I just think distance-wise, I don't know if that's going to work. But I'm not going to be mad if it does. Dax said, speaking of which, did you notice how Jinbei used Fishman Karate to stop Imu's attack? I wonder if Fishman Karate is a counter. Kind of like water versus fire. Super Fireman Jinbei. I don't need or want Jinbei to be the counter. Like, does Jinbei need a moment? Has he, like, not been as involved as he should be if we're... There just haven't been Jinbei moments. But him being the counter to Imu, at this point, like, I would rather it be Chopper, number one, based on everything that we've already seen, or Brook, just because we just had his flashback. But Jinbei would want to save Luffy. He would want to protect everybody else. He is the strongest one there, but he did promise that he would protect Loki. So it's like, does he step away and then Loki gets attacked? Like, I just... There's a lot of different ways that things could go. And there's a lot of opportunity for some of these characters to have really, like, defining moments going into the absolute end game of the story. And I hope that Oda milks it for everything it's worth and shows us why this is the crew that's going to get to the end. Because the pre-time skip is filled with those moments. Post-time skip, not as much. Imu's sword can be translated as howling wind, something like that. Could be a hint. Maybe. Senior Missile Monkey said, this arc has been more Straw Hat focused than most other arcs in the post-time skip. There's a reason for that, and I'll get into it. The only one without any development has been Jinbei. Very true. The reason why this is the most Straw Hat focused arc is because we don't have Law with us anymore. He's not stealing up or eating up all of the screen time. None of the samurai are taking up the screen time. Like, we're just focused on the Straw Hats. Lilith and Bonnie and Kuma are with us, but they're not even really part of the main story here. We're not following them all the time. And even then, like, Bonnie is a little bit of a breath of fresh air, and so is Lilith. So it's like it's different. They're additive because it feels like they're doing something different than the story instead of Law, who was fun but was stepping on other roles. And we also had the whole Lego section, which was just in the core 5, technically the core 6. Everything with Robin, another Brooke flashback. Like, this is objectively like the best post-time skip arc if you're a fan of the Straw Hats, you know, because we are actually getting things for the Straw Hats, all of them. It's not, you know, like you could say that for Whole Cake because, you know, we had all the Sanji pieces, but we're still split. Like, not everybody was with us there. Like, we have everybody here. That's why this arc, like, especially at the beginning, felt very pre-time skip. Because we weren't carrying someone around with us anymore. Jinbei does need focus. He needs development. He feels like Brooke, after Brooke joined, and even like going into he's feeling like Jinbei is feeling like Brooke before Whole Cake. Before Whole Cake, it was like almost 10 years of Brooke just being the sixth man. Always on the bench. Always a bridesmaid, never a bride. Just there. He joined the crew. They split up. For some reason, he waited 2 years for them. He knew them for like a week. Then we go to Fishman Island. He doesn't really do anything. Fights one guy. We go to Punk Hazard. Again, he doesn't really do anything. I think he's like slashed a dragon at one point. We go to Dressrosa. Literally leaves with the other half of the crew to go to Zoe, so we don't even see him doing anything. Then we get to Whole Cake, and it's like, whoa, this guy's the MVP now. He just went up against Big Mom. He saved the rubbings for the poneglyph. Like, the tea party. There's so many Brooke moments in Whole Cake. It was like, you know, Oda went into overdrive. There's an opportunity for Oda to do that with Jinbei. But the other thing too is that Jinbei was so good at Impel Down, so good at Marineford, so good at, like, you know, post-war. And he had some moments in Whole Cake. And I would say everything that Jinbei did in Wano was like not to the level of like memory. When he showed up, it was hype, and then like he just did nothing. Like, fought who's who, whatever. There's an opportunity here. Yeah, if he gets in front of Emu and he's able to counter, like, all right, maybe then that's the whole point, is we've got, you know, a Jinbei moment here. But I don't think that this needs to be Jinbei's time to shine, though. Jinbei had a good moment this chapter. Like, that's fine enough. Everything is telling me that this is about Brooke. And it should be about Usopp. It is about Robin, but she's somewhere else. It could be about Frankie. Because Frankie's another character that has been really kind of forgotten about since Dressrosa. he had a couple of moments in Egghead that were kind of cool. But he still hasn't had like a defining thing since fighting Senior Pink, which was memorable and, you know, people like it and enjoy it. And then here, you know, like, Frankie's the one who found the mural. Like, that could have been anybody standing in front of that. But there he is looking at, you know, one of the most iconic panels that we've had in years, and probably, you know, one of the most iconic panels in the entire story when we're done with it, too. So I just want the Straw Hats to, like, show their faith in Luffy, because those are some of my favorite moments in the series. And now this is a moment where, like, okay, it's their turn to protect them, like, protect Luffy. Like, everything that I wanted from Wano, like, after the Luffy death, all of the Straw Hats, like, going up and, like, trying to go up against Kaido, we could get that here. And I hope that Oda doesn't let me down. Let's see. I went on a long monologue. I gotta catch up with the chat. Senior Mr. Monkey said Frankie got Super Vega Cola. Brook got a flashback. Nami got a one-hit KO on Road. Robin got Saul back. Sanji's about to get Conquerors. Usopp will be soon, and that's outside him baiting Emu. Usopp getting and being able to use Ragnir would feel like, you know, Nami getting Zeus, which is fine by me. Dak mentioned Robin learning Fishman Karate having more meaning. I mean, if it's a counter to some of Emu's effects and works against the Holy Knights, like, that'd be nice. Brett Fairchild said, Randy, in context of Strats, what do you think Jinbei represents? Give me your interpretation of some of the other Straw Hats in the context of what the question that you're asking, so that I can give you an answer based on, because that's vague. You know, like, Jinbei is, you know, we know he's the helmsman, but if you want me to go deeper, I need focus me. Barry said, I swear I love Law, but I was so tired of him taking up all the damn plot real estate. Exactly. That's it. Dax said, we kind of needed the Straw Hats each had a way to counter an aspect of the Abyss Omen powers. Like Chopper stops Domi Reverse, Jinbei and Robin can stop the actual attack, Zoro and Sanji can use Conquerors. That's good. Volkazard, Egghead was close but felt empty. Agreed. Mizukame thinks that Enel will be Imu's natural enemy, just like Luffy was Enel's natural enemy. That would be crazy. That'd be wild. Dak spitting, taking me back to one of my favorite theories about Wano that never happened. Frankie versus Sasuke would have been a million times better if we actually got the reveal that he's Kokoro's kid. Yeah, like, that would have just, like, elevated everything. Ah, that's interesting. So Crush said, what I feel happens, Zoro slices up Summers. Imu grabs his chest. Sanji crushes killing him. Imu falls to his knees. Shuri takes her own life. Imu is banished. We'll see about that last one. That's a bit dark. But I like the idea that hurting the Gods Knights would hurt Imu. So it's like a thing where like Imu is tethered by them being there, which is kind of cool. But Imu has been there, and they were all, you know, sort of sliced up and everything too. So I feel like it would maybe feel like a plot hole compared to the other parts. Volkazard said, Fishman Karate would also speak volumes to Dragon having Hack on his side and having him teach both Koala and Robin. It's interesting. Let's see. Time Lord wants to see Oars 2.0. Straw Hats teaming up to go up against Emu. I just... I want them to do it, but still fail, is the thing, though. Dax said, I really want the Straw Hats to impress Emu in the next chapter. Like, Luffy may not be on Joy Boy's level, but his crew is very similar. I could see a line like, you know, Joy Boy had people who followed him, you know, off a cliff also, you know, like blindly followed him. Like, you can get the idea that history is repeating itself with a line, and it doesn't need all of the action of Oars 2.0. But the emotion and you know, trying to defend Luffy could even trigger a memory and take us into a flashback of, you know, seeing a bunch of people protecting Joy Boy. That could be interesting. Just said, if Emu leaves witnesses, won't he get exposed? Well, it is time for another great cleansing. And I think that it would be a pretty good clock if Emu is, you know, planning to start another, like, great flood, another cataclysm, apocalypse that's going to reset the world. then we'd have the highest stakes possible, which would be great. Sasuke being Kokoro-san was such an easy layup. It was right there and it didn't happen. I know. The hat. I started saying it because of the hat. Nate Vart said, I've been wanting Luffy to get captured by the government since Wano, and now's the time. It'd be good for the story and force us to focus on the crew, force them to develop. Now that is something that I've also wanted, and I've done several videos on it. If we get that, Imu leaves with Luffy. I'm on board for that too. Shout out to Ty. Appreciate you, man.
I'm about to make a name for myself here.
Ty said, sorry I'm late, Cap. W's in the chat. The surprise of the genie made me realize I have absolutely no idea where we're going after Elbaf. In the past, we'd hear you and others theorize pretty accurately what's next. Curious for Dak's input too. What's up, Savage Crew? I've missed y'all. Yeah. Well, we went into a lot of it, Ty. Especially with the genie and everything, and you know, I spent a lot of time talking about the Willie Gallen quote. Because that's what this is what it all stems from. It's just Luffy thought that it would make sense if he became a genie, and then he became a genie. Bonnie thought that she could go Gear 5, she went Gear 5. If you dream it, you can do it. If you think it, you can do it. But at this point, I'm all about the last panel. I'm all about the, you know, feeling the crock of it all. But the best thing about this is that I can get what I wanted out of the end of Wano and didn't get. The Straw Hats are right there. Specifically the Straw Hats that need development, that need powerful moments. All of the most underdeveloped Straw Hats are all in one place. And they could literally make a stand against Imu in this moment and protect their captain. Or fail to protect their captain if he gets captured, like we were just talking about like a minute ago. You know, Imu's already talking about Brook. So Brook just flies in and blocks an attack that's going to kill Luffy. You know? Usopp does something. Nami gets in there. Does Nami lose an arm and become the prototype image? Does Frankie get obliterated and then he has to get rebuilt by Vegapunk? Like, let's go full worst case scenario here. Build ourselves back up from scratch. Understand where we went wrong. And then we don't let it happen again. But the other thing too is that with the convenience of Gunko being coming out of the ice. The Deus Ex Machina is right there for us. Gunko will be able to do something that sends Emu back to the Holy Land before things get too crazy. Crush said, I guess my agenda clouds me here. I'm almost certain many of the God's Knights being killed is what saves them. So, I mean, they were getting hurt, but none of them actually died. So if they did die, and that hurts Emu, then that's cool. If Zoro and Sanji are able to, like, kill their opponents simultaneously, and then that's what, like, saves Luffy from afar without even them realizing that they're saving Luffy, that could be cool. So from that perspective, I just, and it was set up with the words by Zoro that Sanji was going to kill Killingham. So, okay. I'm okay with that. But, I also love that it's Zoro versus Summers, because it feels like Rayleigh versus Summers all over again. Yeah. Ty was one of the people who made sure I knew that this was a chapter to watch out for. And I did not get spoiled. I didn't see the final panel. I didn't see the genie anywhere. When I got Ty's message and, anybody else that was telling me, like, this one's something, I just thought Sanji was getting his Kakurasaki in this chapter. That was my assumption. That's what I came into this chapter like. All right, I put the apron nearby. I thought I was putting the apron on. No, I didn't peep the jump cover. Let me do that now. Let's see. I like the idea that the metal heart that ties into Zoro being able to cut it. That's kind of cool. Crush, I know you're gung-ho about this Gunko taking her own life thing. I just think it's a little too dark for One Piece. She could sacrifice herself. She could take a killing blow that would potentially kill Brook. Like, I'd like that. But, like, just checking out on her own, that's too much. It's got to be motivated a little bit. Let's see. Oh, wow. So this cover was for the 29th year. 29 years. But aren't we like 2 weeks away from the anniversary? Are we on break? I didn't even look yet. Feels a little bit early for the celebration. Saeed put on the Discord a bunch of stuff about the name of the sword. Let's see. Vohu or bohu comes from the biblical Hebrew phrase tohu wa bohu, or tohu va vohu from Genesis, which describes the state of the world before creation, traditionally translated as formless and empty, or absolute chaos, or he intended it to be the phonetic spelling of either two standard native Japanese words. Bofu, storm, gale, tempest, which ties a lot into Luffy and also a lot of Japanese lore. The D will bring another storm. There's gods of storms, and then you got Bofu, which is windbreak or windproofing. This refers to anything designed to block the wind, like a jacket or a line of trees planted to protect a house from gales. Well, I think that's a really interesting way of looking at it, because what did Imu do, right? Took all the leaves from the trees. So I think Oda's playing around with all of that, as he normally does. Kyomu was the word mentioned in the second world of the Harley, a breath within the nothingness, emptiness, void. It's not the same void as in Void Century. That's interesting. Then let's see. Dak responded to Ty, said, just got a chance to reply. Dak's phone died. My only agenda is that Usopp or Dragon's got to step up. Sending back the Demon King sounds like a brave warrior of the sea feet, but Dragon would be amazing. You know, if what Crush is saying is true, right? We see Sanji and Zoro, doing their parallel fights, beating up their guys, killing them. And then in the meantime, like, Imu's been working everybody over there. Maybe Frankie's a pile of parts. Maybe Nami doesn't have an arm. Maybe, Brook's in bad shape. Jinbei's down. And all that's left is Usopp. And then Usopp sends a blast towards Imu at the exact same moment that Sanji and Zoro simultaneously take out Summers and Killing Am. And then it just looks, from an outside perspective, like maybe some other giants are rolling up. It just looks like Usopp was the one to actually take Imu out. That could be funny. Or maybe Usopp does have something in his kit that is effective, which would be crazy. But I think I could see a thing where Imu goes to attack Brook and Gunko takes the hit. I said my message to Randy. What did I just read? Yeah. Jin said, I don't think Shuri doing anything to herself would make any difference. She'll just regen heal after all. Which is why it might be interesting if Imu stabs her as she's protecting Brook, because maybe if Imu hits her, it's different. There's some rules there, maybe. if Sanji got Conqueror's Haki, you would be able to hear Barry's scream from space. Oh, we are on break. Okay. Dax said the art on the jump cover was also used for the Celebration TCG card, which sold out instantly, of course. Of course. God Usopp 2.0. You already know. Dax said, don't think this is super likely, but if Chopper's secret to stopping Domi Reversi is actually the Rumble Balls, he only stopped them when at Monster Point. Usopp could shoot one in Imu's mouth. Dango power. Bringing it back. That's interesting. Overloads Imu. Oh, man. Moonki said, Sam on Twitter said that Joy Boy and Imu's conversation in Japanese is written like children speak. Maybe it's their first time meeting as kids. It's funny that Imu actually responds Mu is Imu in Japanese. Yeah, when I went back and I reread that, I was like, I said that earlier, much earlier in the stream, that it felt like we were hearing but not seeing the very first meeting of those two. But it is nice to know that the language is specifically as kids, because we have talked about Joy Boy and Imu being friends, you know, through childhood and, you know, everything. Interesting. Yeah. Well, I think I'm gonna start winding things down, and if anybody's got any last things that we want to talk about before we wrap this up and go on break, you know, we'll be back in 2 weeks for 1189. What a chapter to go on break for. It's cool. It's cool. If I were Oda, I would go on break after this one too, just because of just ending on that croc panel. Reprise. Love that. Dax said that he's getting out of here. It's good to see you in the chat again, man. Always good to see you. Massive cliffhanger, yeah. But that's the, you know, that's the beauty of it. You can really just sort of sit and appreciate that we are in this glorious downbeat, and the win is going to be so much sweeter when we get it. And now I really just want the rest of the Straw Hats to get packed up, so that we can train, do a little mini time skip, whatever. Imu starts his little apocalypse, and we are ready to go. Something, I don't know. Volkazar said this would be a fire volume ender. Is it a volume ender? Because it should be. He said, did you see the mural adaptation in the anime? They gave Gabon a jazzy theme like Sanji in today's episode. I did not. I'm kind of just waiting. I want to be able to binge. So I think what I'll probably do is, since the anime is seasonal now, I'll let the season finish and then go check it out. Something like that. Well, Dream said the start of the chapter is like an AI coming online. Emu, second world, life came from the void, Joy Boy trying to wake Emu up. That's kind of interesting. It's a good way to look at it. I mean, you know, and it's not an impossible thought either, because the past was the future, so. Netflix has turned me into a binger. Yeah, I guess. I'm already reading the manga week to week. It's like, if I'm gonna jump into the anime, like, I want to be able to play next. Doesn't mean I'm any less interested in anything that's going on. It's actually, I know that I'll have a greater enjoyment if I can absorb it all. Because one of the best things I did was, you know, when I did my rewatch in like 2019, so good, because I was able to just keep going and like just fly through everything. That's what I want again. I'm going to play the Wolverine game when it comes out. I don't know if I'll play it when it comes out, but I will play it. I'm excited for it. And I'm excited for the prospect that, like, other X-Men are going to be in it. Ty said the anime rushed the mural? That's crazy. You're telling me the adaptation of the mural did not hit? Ugh. But yeah, that's the thing too, Kip. It's like Kip said, I'm on the same page regarding the anime. Watching weekly with this slow pacing is a no for me. Plus, I read weekly already. It'd be different if I was anime only, though. Yeah. I'm excited for the One Piece. Yeah. Maybe I'll watch Egghead in 15 years when the One Piece does it. No, I'm joking. Oh yeah, the heroines thing, yeah. I might watch that because it's a one-shot. I don't know when I'll watch it, but check that out. But I also heard that there was mixed reviews on that. But either way, peak chapter, peak prospects for what's to come. Everything's coming up Millhouse. Everything I've wanted out of this arc, it seems to be lining up. Unless And what Crush said earlier about the next chapter starting with Luffy saying, "Whew, that was close," and it was all his future sight, would be the worst thing for the series ever. Now, this needs to stick, and we need a lot more doom and gloom if we're going to justify the rest of the story. I trust Oda to take us there. Take us for a ride. And with that, I'll leave you all to have a wonderful 2 weeks. And I'll see you guys then. Bye.
I've been swimming deep, deep. Savage.